Hey there, how are ya? This is Nate Lemoy, and welcome to episode 5 of Thank You for Playing. This is a special one because at long last, the 2019 Konami Arcade Championship is upon us, and there's a lot of things going on in the DDR community and in rhythm games at large. This is a very special time to be playing DDR or really any rhythm game. But before we jump into things, and before I introduce my guest, let me tell you about a couple things we got going on that will be of interest to any of the rhythm game players in New England or the neighboring areas. First off, coming up on February 9th is FBA-X. That is the 10th tournament in the monthly DDR tournament series at Free Play in Providence, Rhode Island. We just had our 9th tournament. That was FBA-9, the 2018 DDR Free Play Championship, and it was awesome, completely awesome. After doing a whole year of tournaments on Sundays, I got the trust of the venue owners to give me a shot at a Saturday, and in a packed arcade, the end of the tournament was spectacular. The general public was immediately interested in everything going on, and we really had a spectacular end to the tournament, and especially the grand finals. And because of the success of FBA 9, the FBA series has been moved permanently to Saturdays at Free Play Bar and Arcade, which is a huge move. Now, from every tournament now moving forward, that huge crowd energy that we had at FBA 9 is going to be there every time, which is going to be a fantastic exposure for the game. In addition to that, unfortunately, there were some issues on the morning of FBA 9 where the streaming setup that we've put a lot of time and effort into unfortunately had to get canceled. But for FBA-X, we are going to be debuting our stream setup that we've been working very, very hard on. I have spent a lot of time and energy and money to acquire the commercial broadcast rights to a motion graphics package, like an ESPN style tournament bracket motion graphics package. And we'll have that in addition to all of the stats and matchup data and all the stuff that I keep track of in the New England Rhythm Games tournament stats tracker. All that is going to be displayed on stream to really make it look polished and give players their moment to shine when it's their time on stream, instead of just kind of having every match look like every other one. So that's FBA-X. That's going to be February 9th. And I'm very excited for that. If you haven't come out to one of the free play tournaments, it's a great vibe, totally cool people, and there's a whole range of skill levels. So don't think, I'm not good enough or anything like that, because it's a very, very supportive environment, and we love to have new people there. So come on down, come check it out. It's going to be a great time, and I can't wait to run that tournament. I'm really excited about it. That's FBA-X. The other thing that we have going on, just 2 weeks after that, our friends at System Arcadia have pulled off what was thought to be the impossible. System Arcadia has finally gotten in with round 1 and will be running their first multi-game arcade tournament at round 1 Taunton, and that's going to be Round 1 Silver City Summit on February 23rd. That is 2 Saturdays after FBA-X. And that is a huge moment for the New England scene, because lots of people have tried to get into Round 1 or Dave & Buster's, because we know the potential that those arcade chains have to bring to our community and our scene. But it just hasn't happened for this person or that person for one reason or another. But our friends over at System Arcadia have finally pulled it off, and that's going to be the debut Round 1 Taunton tournament, Silver City Summit. I will personally be running the DDR Ace division. We're going to have a stream. We're going to have the commentators, just like at FBA-X and the free play tournaments. And it's another one that I'm just super, super looking forward to. I love running tournaments. It's one of the biggest passions of my life, and I just love having the community come together. So February is going to be a fantastic month for rhythm games, and especially DDR in New England. And especially after, because we don't know what's going to happen. KAC is in about 24 hours as of this recording, and February is probably going to be even crazier after they announce whatever they're going to announce tomorrow at KAC. So those are the two things to look out for. FBA-X, February 9th, and Round 1 Silver City Summit at Round 1 Taunton. That's February 23rd. And registration will be open for both of those tournaments as of the posting of this podcast. I'll post the links to registration in the video description. And that's pretty much it. So, without further ado, let me introduce my guest for today. My guest for today is none other than Steve Brinker. Steve is an absolute force among the New England DDR tournament scene. Depending on what metric you go by, he's either the number 1 or number 2 player in New England, depending on what you use to define that. But he is one of the best players in the region. And last month, after FBA-9, he was crowned the champion of the 2018 FBA tournament season at Free Play Bar and Arcade after he just completely dominated the tournament series, winning 4 out of the 6 tournaments that he entered in 2018. So I never really knew Steve before I started running the tournaments there last year, and it's been so great just to see him kind of come out of nowhere and just dominate a tournament series like that. I love seeing a player come out and just perform that well tournament after tournament after tournament. So I kind of got to sit down with Steve, and just like I did with Tommy, I like to pick people's brains. I like to figure out what they think about this thing or that thing. What are their origins? Where do they come from? I like to get to know people and have a conversation about everything to do with these games and their involvement in it, just to kind of get where their head is at. So unfortunately, this is a little bit of a short one. We had some technical difficulties with the recording setup that pushed the start time a little bit back, and Steve had to leave a little early. So this one's only going to clock in at about 35, 36 minutes, which is very short. I tend to like a long form conversation. I can easily talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours or more. But this is just a nice little one, and we get to talk about everything as far as the 2018 tournament season, but also the whole can of worms that is KAC and a potential new mix coming out and the new cabinet, everything that's going on in the DDR scene globally right now. It's a very exciting time to be a DDR player, and I was very happy that I was able to get an interview with him in before the 2019 Konami Arcade Championship. So thank you for listening, and welcome to episode 5 of Thank You for Playing with Steve Brinker. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're here live at Free Play Bar and Arcade from Providence, Rhode Island. We are here with Steve Brinker. Steve Brinker, say hi to everybody.
How's it going, guys?
So a lot of people probably don't know you that well, especially like outside of New England. Tell me a little bit about the rhythm games that you play.
So I try to play everything that I can, honestly. Started with DDR, but dabbled in 2DX, Poppin', like to play Voltex, Tycho. I like, honestly, just anything I can get my hands on, really.
But for you, it's pretty much DDR that's your
competitive, yes.
Your main one. You don't really go too hard on any other games, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So when did you start playing DDR? This is a question I ask everybody. I'm always curious about where people started, their origins, all that kind of stuff is what interests me.
So sometime around, I think, 2003, I played DDR Max at some movie theater somewhere. I don't even remember where it was. And then somehow my mom actually got me DDR Ultra Mix for the Xbox for my birthday that year, and kind of just went from there. I really played mostly at home until Ace. I really didn't play in arcades that much. So like in high school, we had like a DDR club. We played all the home versions, mainly the Xbox versions though. Ultra Mix 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm
curious. When did you graduate high school now?
2008.
Okay, so we're not that far apart. I thought you were actually a little older than me. Oh yeah,
Right.
So you graduated the same year my brother did then.
Yes.
So I'm curious. You said you don't remember exactly what arcade it was, but like what area? Was it like Boston or more like southeastern New England?
It was definitely in Rhode Island somewhere, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then I really only played there that one time, I think. But after I got started, I would go to like the Lincoln Mall.
I was just gonna say the only Max that I'm aware of had to be either the Lincoln Mall, they had one, and then there might have been one. Ryan's Amusements didn't have it, but I think that might have been the one.
Yeah.
So for you, did you from the beginning have an idea of getting really, really good at rhythm games, or was it just kind of like a slow thing? How did it all happen for you?
I think, I don't know. In the beginning, I don't think I was just playing it because it was fun, and I guess I did get decently good pretty quickly, and I was pretty competitive with my buddy at the time. We kind of went back and forth, but I didn't really have any thoughts of like, entering tournaments or like stuff like that until way later. But
yeah, because for me, it was just that thing. I said on the last episode, I don't want to repeat myself on this thing too much, but basically, I started playing DDR because I was on the wrestling team in high school, was very involved in combat sports, and in the off season, I just didn't want to do real exercise.
Yeah.
Basically, all these guys lifting these crazy amounts of weights, bench press, I'm like, I don't want to do that. God forbid I have to do that. So I started playing DDR, and it wasn't until I started seeing like the old Yasu videos Mega Man X, the people who were big names at the time, I was like, oh, maybe I could do that. But it was really my family opening up their arcade that was like the catalyst to actually wanting to really get good at DDR.
Yeah, that's cool. I remember back in the day going on Aaron in Japan and seeing those videos, like seeing Yasu, AAA Max 300, and it was just like, I had no idea people were that good at that time, but I was just like, wow. So,
but the crazy thing about Aaron in Japan is Aaron's website and the videos and stuff he was uploading in that time, there was no YouTube.
Right.
There was no Facebook. Aaron in Japan was the one link between the East and the West. That was the real place that you could see what other people in different parts of the world were doing. And as far as I know, for example, like Yasu's Max 300, AAAs, all that kind of stuff, when that stuff first came out, we Americans got the game later than the Japanese did, so he was doing that stuff at a time when
we were just starting.
Yeah, we were just starting. We didn't even think, a lot of people didn't even think AAAs were possible. They thought it was a fake grade or that it was photoshopped or something. Yep. So then there's this crazy Japanese dude AAAing the hardest song in the game.
Right.
Obviously we have all the social media now, but that a lot of people don't give like Aaron in Japan like the credit that it deserves, because back in the day that was like the one link between the two sides of the world.
Right. Like I said, I had no idea people were like that good at that level until I like just stumbled upon that. So that was like mind blowing at the time, definitely.
So you have become the #1 top ranker for the FBA series at Free Play. How does that feel?
It feels good. For 2018, right? So
yes.
I think it's going to be tough to keep that going into 2019 with more people kind of showing up. But
so for those who are outside of New England or just aren't as familiar with the tournament series, we're here at Free Play Bar and Arcade. Back in March of 2018, we ran FBA-1. That's the tournament series I started here, and we did 9 tournaments. And that was, they were almost all 4 weeks apart, so good, consistent monthly tournament. And Steve ended up with a record of, I should know this. I run the stats tracker. How do I not know this off the top of my head?
It was 4 out of 6, I think, tournaments.
It was, yes, 4 tournament wins out of 6 that Steve entered, and your win rate was somewhere in the high 80s.
Yeah.
That's, you ought to be proud of that, because that's kind of crazy. Going into FBA-9, which was the last tournament of the season, Steve had 1 tournament loss, only 1 in the FBA series, and it was to me.
Yeah,
I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah, yep. The one single elimination just came out of nowhere and dunked on me. But
well, the thing that really impresses me about you is, and please tell me to stop if I'm bashing you over the head with compliments. I can't take it either.
Fine.
But you're very consistent. That's something that I learned early on, is one of the best, if not the best, traits to have as a competitive player. If someone has some kind of crazy high score, they got it once, okay, and versus somebody that maybe doesn't have as good of a high score, but can hit, say, 1 or 2 grades every single time, I'm going to put my money on that person every time. Consistency trumps just about everything. And that's something that you have going for you, which I think is a big part of the reason why you've been doing so well recently.
Still a little salty about the last one, gotta say, but yeah, had some good early success, and hopefully we can get back to that. But yes.
So I mean, I have no idea what's gonna happen because, my win rate was somewhere around, I think it was just over 50%. It was like 52%. And the thing is, and have a bunch of things planned to helpfully grow the tournaments and get more people out here. So it's going to be tougher and tougher to hit that same win percentages, as an example, if more and more people are coming out. But it's, I didn't really know you that well before the FBA tournaments. I started the New England Rhythm Games Facebook group, and for a while before I started running the events, all of you guys were kind of just names on a screen, and I started running the tournaments because I wanted to get to know people better. And it's been great just to see you and Dwayne and all the people that have come down, that I didn't really know before, and just see you guys knock it out of the park. So I'm curious now. What are some of your goals as a dance game player? Where do you see yourself moving forward?
That's a good question. So when I play, I would say I kind of just try to go with the flow. I don't really come in with a plan.
Really?
Per se. Yeah. I kind of just show up and do whatever.
Do whatever the hell you feel like.
It sounds ridiculous, but I don't know. I just show up to the arcade and if Dwayne's there, I'll play with Dwayne. We'll play probably 15s and 16s all night or whatever. If I'm there by myself, maybe I'll try to grind out an MFC on a 12 or whatever. So I kind of just show up and see what happens, see where it goes. I know one thing that motivates me a lot is the Facebook group and seeing the scores that people post. And when I started playing Ace and kind of got back into DDR, that was probably what drove me the most, was seeing Dwayne and all these people that I had never met before improving. And I was like, hey, I can do this. Come on, I gotta be better than these guys.
It's good that you have that drive, though.
Yeah.
Some people, they just want to, it's good to be the best you want to be, but it is also good to want to be better than other people. Right. It sounds shitty to some people, but that's what wanting to be the best is. Right. Is not just want to be the best player that you can be for your own sake, but also being, the best compared to everybody else that's around you. Right. Do you have any tournament goals aside from, scores, individual scores and stuff like that? Do you plan on getting out to any more bigger tournaments or traveling outside of New England or anything like that?
Not really, I would say.
Steve,
I know.
You're killing me.
I know. I just, man, I'm just so lazy, honestly. It's just the travel, the whole travel.
Well, at least you're
thing.
honest.
Yeah, I'll go to, just going to Game Underground, it's an hour, it's 45 minutes. But no, I don't know.
Dude, you think you were from Rhode Island, that kind of mentality. The whole Rhode Island thing is people don't leave the Shire. If it's more than a 17-minute drive, they're oh no, I got to pack my bags. God forbid I have to drive 45 minutes to an hour.
I did live in Rhode Island for a while, so that is kind of, but no, that sounds bad. But I know, and Dwayne's always getting on me about this, but he wants me to get out and go out
Dwayne Delaney. Shout out to Dwayne.
Shout outs to Dwayne. Big shout outs to Dwayne. But, yeah, someday I'll get out there. I'll
because
piggyback on
that's the
somebody's.
thing that drives me crazy about you. You ought to be going out to some of these bigger tournaments, even maybe not stuff like the Big Deal in Texas or CEO in Florida, but at least some stuff in New York or maybe the Mid-Atlantic. Because a player as good as you, people ought to know that New England's packing heat.
Yeah, we can show up. We should show up. But. Yeah, that's my goal. That's my goal for 2019. So
you ought to, man. I think, and I have a feeling with you that, let's say you made it out to a tournament in a New York round one, with the Rhythm Corps guys or something. I think it would probably light a fire to, because it's one thing to compete with everybody that we know from the New England scene. It's another to show out somewhere way far away where nobody knows you and just tear them up.
Sounds like fun.
So I'm curious now. KC's coming up. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on the whole? I mean, that's a whole can of worms. KAC.
I need somebody to break down how the tournament's gonna go, because it's different every year, right? With the setup of the finals and everything.
They've been very inconsistent with the exact specifics of the rules. Last year there was a big, I don't know if I'd call it a huge controversy, but people Chris Strike didn't get a song pick because he was the returning champion, and a lot of people were saying that was Konami basically saying "F you, America." It was basically a dig to, try to throw a wrench in everything because, when Chris Strike came out of nowhere, not nowhere, he'd been around for a long time, but
showed up to Japan.
Right, and just blew it out of the water. I think, I don't know. I mean, Konami, they give Japan 16 people, right?
Right. Two separate finals.
Right.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, what we're talking about is KAC is the Konami Arcade Championship, and that's basically the official world championship of DDR, but also other rhythm games that have a division for 2DX and Pompin and all these different rhythm games, and it's hosted obviously by Konami themselves, and it's coming up right at the end of the month, and I'm very curious to see how things are going to pan out because FBA-X is not...
Is he not going? Is he going?
As far as I know, FBA-X is not going to be in there.
Because that's what I heard people have been saying, but he qualified and everything, right? Like he played the qualifiers.
Right. So FBA-X, he won last year, but because of the Korean mandatory military service, he's not going to be playing this year, from what I understand. But he was putting up the preliminary scores, which is kind of was like, what's going on here?
Does anyone know? Can anyone confirm?
We need to send some messages over. I bet somebody could tweet out to FBA-X. He has a Twitter.
I know.
Yeah.
Somebody must know. Somebody out there.
But honestly, and I'm going to talk a little bit of shit here, if FBA-X doesn't go, forget it.
Chris, you think?
The Americans.
Yeah.
Whether it's Chris, whether Jeff takes it, it's not going to be a Japanese person. Let's be real.
No. Yeah, no way. There's no way.
There's a reason why they get 16 players. The super interesting thing is, and a lot of people, including myself, talk trash about like Japanese players, but the reality is Japan has so many amazing players, right? Like, if you actually look at the spreadsheet for all the worldwide preliminary scores, Japan has so many players that are as good as you or Tommy Reyes or better. So many of them. It's like a ridiculous amount of players. But once you really get to like the top upper echelon of the game, it's all Americans. They might have a crap load of people who are very, very good players in their own right, but when it comes to who's really the best, it's absolutely America. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, the scores that Chris has been posting on Twitter, it's scary.
Yeah. Anytime I get that notification, Chris Chike has just posted in DDR and in the group plays. I'm like, oh god, let me put everything down.
How many world records are you looking at?
Granted, I get that even when like guys like you and Tommy and even local players, but still, I remember I was up at it was a late night, it might have been a weekend or something. It might have been like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I get that little notification in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Chris Chike has just uploaded a video to YouTube, and I'm like, oh god, here we go. And I think within 3 minutes, it had like 300 views. Damn. Like instantly, everybody around the world has that reaction when they get that notification. But the thing is, he still lost last year. You could make the argument, and very valid argument, that was because of the rules were basically slanted against him. But FBA-X, here's the thing. Chris Chike, you could make a case for him being the best singles player, but FBA-X is almost inarguably the best dance game player overall, because in addition to all the stuff on singles, he has all of doubles, world records, almost all of them. And pump it up. Yeah. He played, what is it? Do you know what that D28 is?
I am not well versed in pump.
Paradox, I think it's called. Go look up Paradox when you get home. D28, it is the most ridiculous bullshit you'll ever see in dance games. And FBA-X does it almost without a sweat. It's ridiculous.
He does seem to have just unlimited stamina. And it's like, dude.
How did you end up doing in the KAC preliminaries?
Not as well as I hoped. I don't remember what my final number was, but I only got to play... There was like one night where I played and then I got sick, which like same thing happened to me last year.
Yeah,
Which
a
is
lot
so
of people
annoying.
weren't feeling well.
Yeah. Which is no excuses, but
Yeah.
So not as well as I would have liked. Would have liked to have gotten close to 100, whatever, but it was just outside that, I think. Right around 9 volt, I think.
Yeah. I actually, it might have been you. I should have prepared better for this goddamn podcast. I think it was you and 9 volt that were 1 EX apart, or exactly tied. I think it was 9 volt. Somebody had in the top 10 in New England an almost exact tie, or was an exact tie. I forgot who it was.
I think it
might
was
have
me
been
and Alex.
No, that's it. That's right.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to think about it. Over the course of 6 songs, to still end up with an EX tie is kind of ridiculous. I didn't put up EX or KAC preliminary scores just because lack of preparation, basically.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna do it 2 or 3 days, all the registration stuff, 2 or 3 days before it was supposed to end, but it turns out that
You couldn't register.
the registration had closed a week before, and then last year, just how convoluted it all is to register as an American. You'd think they would have a good English translation of the website, but no.
Would you really though?
No,
really
I guess
expect
you
that?
wouldn't. No, what am I talking about? Not from
Yeah.
Konami. Oh man, have you seen the pictures that are coming out about
The gold?
Yeah,
I saw that
yeah.
on Twitter. I was like, what's going on? But
Well, for those of you that haven't seen it, a new, it's not a new game yet that's been announced, but a new cabinet model, and it looks basically kind of like a Donald Trump sort of a version of a DDR cab.
dipped in gold.
Just
yeah. A little
gold
ridiculous.
plated. Yeah, it's a little over the
gaudy.
top, but I guess if you're gonna, go
big.
for it, go for it.
Drop that 20.
As far as I know, the biggest changes right now has a 55-inch screen, which essentially they're competing with Pump It Up's screen size. I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of like where the screen size is at right now.
Is it the same? So it looked like the same as the Dance Rush cab. Is it
Pretty much exactly the same.
okay?
Pretty much
That is-
exactly the
I don't know
same.
how I feel about that screen size either, because that seems big. I don't know.
I mean, granted, when I play Pump It Up on those big, larger than life type cabinets, it doesn't bother me.
I'm sure we'd all adjust. Eventually.
The good players are gonna adjust one way or another. So I don't know, but I guess most of us are just so attuned to the screen size that DDR is
Right.
typically. I mean, even adjusting from a typical SD cab to say Ace was a big jump for a lot of
Huge
people. Aside from that, has 2 additional speakers. So they have the ones at the top. Usually there's 4 at the top, but the new cabinet is going to have 2 at the top and then 2 further down, kind of pointing up. And there's a little bit of confusion right now because it was translated as having a 4.1 sound system, which typically would mean 4 tweeters and 1 subwoofer. That's what the point something is.
Mm-hmm.
But there's quite clearly 2
Subwoofers.
subwoofers, so it's kind of not sure what's going on with that. But yeah, it's cool, but I think most people would prefer a new game over some fancy new cabinet. That's what the real meatball is.
They gotta drop a new game.
They have to.
Dying for a new game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking with Sigma, and if we don't get a new game after KAC, if they don't announce it, then Ace will have run longer than Extreme.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right?
I would have never thought that. Wow.
What would you want to see in a new game? That's what I'm curious. What does Steve
Just
Brinker
drop
want?
the songs, man. Just give me new songs. I don't care about anything else.
Really?
I mean,
that's it. All strictly. It's just about the content for you.
more options would be nice.
Hmm.
Obviously, more speed mods, the basic stuff that people are always asking for. Edit mode. Bring edit mode back.
More speed modes, Steve. How many speed mods do you need?
Oh,
Are you
my
gonna be like
God.
one of these in the group players
Yeah,
and these
0.01.
0.00001
Oh,
increments?
man. I don't know about that. But at least a few more. Come on. But yeah, mainly just new songs. Just give me some new songs. And I don't know. What do you think?
For me, it's probably about the features. Obviously, I want the songs to be good. The playlist has to be solid because if the music stinks, then whatever. I don't want another 2014 with a bunch of filler. Like, it would suck. But if we could get arena mode, do you know about arena mode in 2DX?
A little bit.
Yeah, so 2DX has an arena mode where basically, based on your scores, you get slotted into a certain skill bracket. And if you go into arena mode, it will pair you up with 3 other players in that skill bracket live, and you face each other live. Everybody picks a song, so it's about as close to like a live internet match, online match that you can get in a rhythm game. Granted, if nobody in your skill bracket is playing at that time, you do get paired up with bots. But the fact is, it's there and it works well. If DDR got something like that, that would be
sick.
crazy.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, courses, bring courses back.
Oh, I miss courses.
Have some kind
I miss courses.
yeah. Some kind of ranking, like the whole Dan thing and GDX.
Well, you know, I talked about this with my buddy Brendan Dorr. They kind of tried it. Do you remember the dance drill courses?
I don't.
So starting in I don't remember when they started.
Arcade games?
Yeah, and it was either X or X2. They started doing the dance drill courses. So there was dance drill 1 through 15, and that's basically what it was. You would get progressively harder, and you could say, "Oh, I cleared dance drill 12 or something." I guess the issue is they never stuck with it. I mean, the reason. The Dan rankings in 2DX, they're ubiquitous. If I go to Japan, if I might not speak a lick of Japanese, but if I say I'm 6 Dan, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Whereas just because they never really stuck with the dance drill rankings, it never really got a chance to kind of become as like official or I guess ubiquitous as the Dan rankings are in 2DX. But
Never too late. Never too late to start. 20 years in. Come on. But it would be cool.
I mean, I don't know. If they don't announce a new game after KAC,
I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I was pretty salty last year that they didn't announce a new game.
I think a lot of people were.
I thought it was like pretty much a lock. I mean, not a lock, but I was like really hoping for it.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, it's like, okay, it's time. Like,
Yeah.
there's been like 30 versions of 2DX since Ace came out. Like, come on.
They're coming out every other 3 weeks now.
I know, dude. Come on.
I mean, it kind of sucks, right? As a DDR player, to
watch Voltex and 2DX and all these other games, and it's like, how hard is it?
Right.
Even if it was just songs, like even if they just put out like some 40 song pack or whatever for Ace, don't even call it, just call it Ace, whatever. It's still Ace.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I kind of can't complain because I play a lot of 2DX, so I get to reap the benefits of them putting out a game every, 10, 12 months, probably even a little less than that. I don't know exactly. But, yeah, as for someone who just plays DDR, that must suck.
Yeah.
Just to watch them like, hey, just so you know, we care about all these other games way more than DDR.
Yeah. That's why I tried to play some of the other games in the downtime, but yeah, it is rough. But hey, at least we have Ace. I never thought we would have EMUs and all this stuff in the States, so.
No, I'm curious as far as you personally. A lot of players, play on and off. Was it like that for you? Have you basically played since you started playing, or were you one of the many people where Ace was the thing that got them back into the game?
Right. So I definitely fell off after like Supernova. Like I probably played Supernova 2 like less than 5 times in my life before we got this one here. But what year was Supernova? It was like 2008?
2006.
2006.
It was I think it was 05 or 06, depending on the region, because Japan typically gets them a little earlier. And then Supernova 2 was 2007, early 2008, somewhere in there.
Okay, so so basically like after a couple years of Supernova, that was like right when I like went to college to stop playing, didn't really know of any like locations to play at or whatever. So I definitely fell off, and then I would go every once in a while. I would go like play Extreme, whatever, on some crappy Extreme cab somewhere, but wasn't playing at all regularly until Ace, and that was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Like, we're back.
I mean, it was pretty incredible to see just how many people came out of the woodworks for Ace. I was there at the first day that Ace was online at Dave & Buster's in Braintree, and I met Louis ZZZ.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, this dude came out? Because since I started playing, like since 2006, I've heard stories about this ZZZ guy and all the, you know,
scores.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. But I'd never seen him. I didn't know if he was still around. And I almost damn near shit a brick when I saw this random dude go up. I'm like, oh, just some dude playing. He puts in his EMU's card and puts in his passcode, and then the thing comes up that says ZZZ. I'm like, no, this guy, really?
He's back.
And that was the case for a lot of people. A lot of people that probably hadn't touched the game in years.
Yep.
Ace was the thing that brought them back. And that might be the biggest probably victory that Ace has had, is more or less resurrecting the game to where, not quite exactly where it was in the Extreme days, but probably the best it's ever been in America since then.
I mean, who knows if they brought more machines over here? It could be as big as it was. Who knows? I mean, probably not that big, but still bigger than. How many machines do we even have? And
Ace machines?
Yeah, it's less than.
It's definitely less than 100.
Yeah,
less than 100.
So who knows what they're missing out on?
I think, if I remember correctly, Dave & Buster's in round one might have split a shipment of 50 when they first came over. Dave & Buster's, as of right now, is not getting any more Ace cabs or DDR cabs anywhere. The vice president of amusements, his name is Kevin Bacchus. He's very active on the there's a Dave & Buster's subreddit, and he openly said we are not purchasing anymore just because of, you know, the tough thing is a lot of people think, oh, you know, I come and I spend $20 here every week, you know, I'm a consistent customer. To a place like Dave & Buster's or really any arcade, DDR will never be as profitable as, say, Flappy Bird, or especially like a game like Cyclone. Have you ever seen the big bubble and the lights go around?
Where you drain, you play it 5 times.
I mean, my family used to own an arcade, so I saw, you know, everything. And, you know, for, depending on what the price is, ours was $1 for 3 songs. You know, it takes close to 10 minutes a lot of the time between not just the song, playing the song, but in the song menu, the mod menu, the score menu, the score screen, all that stuff.
Extra stage.
Right, all that. You're looking at $10 or $1 for 10 minutes. Whereas on a game like Cyclone, I've seen kids with their little cup of tokens just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and just hit the button and spend $1 in less than 20 seconds. You know, so unfortunately, DDR is never gonna be able to really compete with that. But it does have the kind of community aspect of it that Cyclone doesn't have. Or maybe there is a Cyclone community. We're gonna look
Cyclone subreddit. Hey, I was just playing that the other day. I'm not gonna lie. Jackpot.
But who knows? I mean, as far as I know, Dave & Buster's is out of DDR for the time being. Yeah, it does. But round one is expanding aggressively. I mean, if you look on their Twitter, I think it is. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's their Twitter where they announce the new location stuff. And whenever they do it, maybe it's like every 1 or 2 quarters, they announce the new locations. And it's always like 3 or 4 of them.
Right.
And they're almost always super close to a Dave & Buster's. So they're aggressively trying to compete.
Yeah, we're getting another one in
Holyoke.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
shout out to Western Mass. That's gonna be huge for them.
To Western Mass,
yeah. You gotta imagine how psyched those people must be.
So now, the way the area works on EMUs, is it just like Massachusetts as one area? Is it by state?
I don't know. I tried asking somebody about this recently. Braintree and Taunton are on the same area.
But Maine is not.
I don't think so.
It's not.
I don't, either that or they really suck and have no area records. I don't know. It could be the case.
No, because I've seen people post screenshots and the area records are always like way different.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'm just running my mouth here. And I don't know if that should be the case.
We'll see.
I mean,
It'll be interesting. I'm hoping it's the same area so we can see what those guys post out there. But.
Because in my head, it only makes sense to put all of the machines on the 6 New England states on the same area on EMUs, because that's the whole reason that I made the New England Rhythm Games group and have done all the stuff that I've done, is because we had CT Rhythm and Mass Rhythm and Dance Games in Rhode Island.
Disjointed.
Yeah, this region is too small to have it split up into different places. It needs to be one central thing. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense if Holyoke was on a different area and Maine is on a different area. It should all just be on one thing. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not expecting some person in Japan's DDR department to know the minutia of the northeastern U.S. geography. So I don't know.
We'll find out, I guess. But
yeah, I mean,
more machines the better.
More machines the better. And now you haven't played out in Western Mass recently, have you? No. Are
there machines out there?
Not really, but there have been some tournaments there over the years. There was a Holyoke 2013 tournament in 2014, and that was kind of cool. But I wanted to slam my head against the wall because of just fuck Western Mass. Oh my god!
All right,
I missed the exit to go to the tournament. I was like, okay, God. Whatever. It'll it's got to be 3 miles down the road. 3 miles, whatever. And then it does the recalculating thing, and it's a half an hour.
Oh my god!
To the next exit, so I had to go
on the Mass Pike.
I forget what it was.
Oh jeez.
But it was a half an hour out, and then I had to drive a half an hour back just to make it to the tournament. I ended up being an hour late because one stupid, missed exit, and I missed the main event. But there was a mod tournament. Thankfully, I still got to play.
Sounds like classic Nate to me, but. Oh man, that's rough. But yeah, like I said, I had no idea what was going on, the scene and everything, really before Ace. So, but.
Well,
it's cool to be a part of it now.
It's going to be interesting. 2019 is going to be very interesting because, obviously I have plans to try and grow everything that I'm doing, but if we get a new game announcement, that would be crazy. I mean, because the rumors that I've heard is that the new DDR that's supposedly coming out is supposed to be an esports version of it. Really? So they're trying to jump on the esports train, which is basically what I'm trying to do.
It's kind of what they've been doing with 2DX, right? With the arena mode and
the cameras. Have you seen the cameras?
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, any new 2DX cab that comes out has a camera above you where you're playing and also off to the side, so you can set, the cameras to show up on screen, and arena mode. I don't know if you've seen Street Fighter at all. Street Fighter 5 just released their arcade edition, which has a new UI, and it's super esportsy. Flashing lights, the date scrolls across the screen when you play your match. A global map shows up on the main screen. A lot of games are trying to go towards this esports kind of an angle.
Sounds pretty hype. I mean, let's go. Bring it on.
I know you want to get out of here. So is there anything else you want to talk about before we hit the road?
I didn't have anything in mind. I can stick around for a little bit longer if you want. You got any?
I mean, that was pretty much what I want to talk about. I just want to talk about KAC and how you felt about, winning the 2018 FBA season, because that was pretty nuts, how you perform. So, yeah, let's wrap it up then.
All right.
Thanks for coming, Steve. This has been
Thanks
episode 5, and
me.
thank you for playing, and see you on episode 6 next week.
See you guys.
See you.